your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. National examinations have been postponed nationwide due to the closure of schools brought on by the COVID-19 threat. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson says she's made the recommendation that the Ministry of Education cancel both internal and external examinations for April through June in light of the COVID-19 pandemic.
You note, we had Hurricane Dorian in September, so school was disrupted then, and now school is further disrupted now with the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I would think that the content of the subject areas have not been covered. When you speak about BJC and BGCSE examinations, some of those courses, such as geography, has coursework. So the coursework has to be completed prior to the written examination. So I believe that canceling the examinations now for the dates that they were already scheduled for would be wise.
The BUT president says she looks forward to the ministry and the Department of Education sending out a plan as to how and when the examinations will take place. She's also saying a huge thank you to all teachers throughout the country.
Once the announcement was made on March the 15th that schools were closed, teachers then automatically they just jumped into gear. And I guess that's the passion and the dedication and the commitment that they have to education. So they used all types of platforms and devices and ways to get information and instruction and assignments to their students. So teachers are very resilient, but even in looking at the resilience of teachers, we also have to think about teachers are human beings too, and they are being impacted.
Well, a busy day at the Garnet-Laverty Court Complex today as several persons were arraigned for serious criminal matters, among them a juvenile. Chicago Ferguson, age 16, was arraigned before Magistrate Charlton Smith on violation of curfew, possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. He was not allowed to plead but will appear before the juvenile panel on May 7th. Bail was denied and he was remanded to the Simpson Penn School for Boys until that time. 54-year-old Trudy Thurston of Frobisher Drive was also arraigned before the magistrate court on the charge of accessory after the fact. She pleaded not guilty to the charge and was granted bail in the amount of $2,000 with one surety. That matter was adjourned to June 2nd for trial. Meantime, Kevin Williams, 21, of Independence Avenue, seen in the orange shirt, 33-year-old resident of Spinney Road, Gary O'Brien Knowles, wearing the gray shirt, and 22-year-old Ellsworth Williams of Frobisher Circle is also wearing the gray shirt, along with Dion Williams, 24, of Oleander Street, all appeared before Magistrate Charlton Smith on 2 counts of possession of a firearm with the intent by means to endanger life and 2 counts of causing damage. They all pled not guilty to the charges and were remanded to the Department of Corrections until June 15th, when a trial is expected to begin. They are accused of several criminal activities within the past week. Well, there appears to be an uptick in crime in the inner city area of Freeport as of late. With 2 shooting incidents in the Garden Village area within the past week, some in the area are expressing concern. Tonight, the new police chief for Grand Bahamas says they plan to increase vigilance in the Garden Village community, considered a hotspot for crime lately.
I send a stern warning to the criminal element that if you continue to commit crime, we're coming to get you. We're coming after you. Okay? We don't have no tolerance. We have a zero tolerance approach towards crime and the criminal element.
Youth leader Dudley Said also calling on young men in that community to let peace prevail. Said says he too has been monitoring activities in the inner city area and is not happy with what he calls an apparent increase in gun violence in that community. He says what is even more puzzling is the fact that it is happening at a time when the world is in lockdown mode.
As Grand Bahama, the Bahamas, and the world is trying to fight the coronavirus, we have senseless young men who decide to wreak havoc in our country. There was a shooting on Monday, another shooting on Tuesday. I want to send a strong appeal to the young men of these gangs killing each other over nothing. Puma, Nike. I mean, this needs to stop. And I always say this: when you die by yourself. So I'm asking these young men to put down the guns, man. I think enough is enough. How much more young men have to die for y'all to understand it doesn't make any sense? If you don't die, you go into a Majesty's prison to spend the rest of your life in prison. The government done set a curfew, so that means you shouldn't even be on the road to wreak havoc. So I'm very disappointed to see what is still going on. You young men, your life have a purpose, and all the gang leaders, you need to send a strong message to guys who following you. Your guys need to cease. I think this time now the young men should be giving their life to Christ, and just thanking God just for another day to be alive, to see that we don't want to drop. I mean, continue to kill, continue to try to take each other life. I still can remember me and Tyrone Lang was in a gang war, fighting, trying to kill each other. And when we had an opportunity to sit down and speak, I said to him, Tyrone, why are we doing this? And Tyrone said to me, Dudley, this didn't make no sense.
Excellent advice. Well, Zaid is also advising the young men to think about their future and not throw their life away based on youthful indiscretion.
I can remember in the early 80s when you hear shooting, it used to be for drugs. Today, the young men are dying on our streets for nothing, killing each other for nothing, for turf war. I mean, just to say you're affiliated with a gang, you could lose your life. So I'm asking the young men out there, Puma, Nike, Mad Dog, all the gang, you know who you are, to stop. I'm making a strong appeal that asking the Christian community, as we pray for the COVID-19, we have a mess on our hand where young men dying over nothing. So let's continue to pray for the young men in this country. But I'm sending this again to all the young men out there who are listening to me. Dudley Said from Reach Out Youth Organization is saying, enough is enough. Cease, man. You are put on this earth for a purpose. God didn't design you to join no gang. God didn't put you on this earth to die for no one. So I'm asking you guys to cease, man, for let this country
Excellent advice from Dudley Said from Reach Out Youth Ministries. Stay with us, more when we come back.